I've got an advert here from 1974. It's out of a magazine, and it's for a Skindiver. It's actually for this watch here that I've got on my wrist. The brand's called Wolbrook, and it was a brand that was around in the day, but like many other brands, it disappeared during the quartz crisis. Now, I like it when brands are revived from the modern era and they've got their back catalogue to go from. That's a good thing, especially if they're done properly. Because the experience I've had on the wrist with this watch over the last week has been nothing but exceptional. Now, I have found 6 gripes on this watch throughout the week of wearing it. Not one of them is a deal breaker. Not for me anyway, because I completely understand why these gripes are there, and I'm going to share that in the course of this review. So without further ado, let's flip the camera and let's dive into this beautiful Skindiver, a remake of a 1974 model from Wolbrook. Now, I'm going to tell you straight off the bat, the reason this watch is here on my wrist and me reviewing it for you is because of you. Some of you guys over the years have told me, get a Wolbrook, this, that. There's a specific comment that came in 2 weeks ago. And the gentleman, I actually value his opinion. I won't tell you who he is. You can search through my comments. I value his opinion. Because over the years when I've reviewed watches, he said certain things and comments. He's actually led me in particular areas, and he's been bang on. Let me read it to you. They finally did it, Pete. Wolbrook made a Skindiver 38 after all those years. It's phenomenal. No blue tint, the bracelet is nice, and the price is right because of the Miyota. Contact them for a review piece. I would really like your view. I did. I contacted Wolbrook. I said, man, this is pretty cool. I told them straight off, some of my viewers want to see it, one specific guy, all the rest. They said no problems. They sent it down. Here it is. Now, looking at the website of Wolbrook, I don't even need to do a review regarding the specs or tell you the specs. It's there. It's all there. From the dimensions, the materials used, they're pretty thorough in their explanation of what they developed and focused on specific details of the watch that I've got in hand. That's brilliant. And measuring those specs, I measure a case diameter of 38 and a case height of exactly 12. The crown of the watch is a 6mm signed screw-down crown. The watch offers 200 meters of water resistance, and the total weight on the supplied bracelet, sized to my 18cm wrist, I measure exactly 127 grams. Now, I did mention that I've got 6 gripes of this watch. The overall experience has been fantastic. I'm extremely excited about this watch, and I can feel what this viewer said to me in the experience. I'm sharing my point of view here. I'll get to the gripes. Let me tell you the good stuff. That crown is amazing. The winding, unlatching, and winding and latching down experience of that crown is fantastic. It's buttery smooth. It's done really, really nicely. In fact, you know my transparency, when I first got it, there must have been something on the crown or on the actual mechanism, because it was a little bit rough to latch on. I thought, what's this? I grabbed a bit of dental floss. I ran it once through the threads, gave it a clean, and this crown has been buttery smooth. It is brilliant. This is how crowns should be done. Now, the wearing experience on the wrist has been nothing short of sublime as well. It's a 38mm watch. The footprint has been great. The bracelet's taper from 20 to 16 to that very petite clasp has also been a joy. A lot of vintage vibes coming off this, but not just cheap vintage, a lot of well-made vintage vibes. The watch actually feels really solid and made to today's spec rather than something flimsy, if that makes sense. The bracelet falls straight down. The articulation is fantastic. It's got split pins, and that beautifully designed clasp not only looks elegant, but I think complements this design. Also offers 5 micro adjustable holes. Now, would it have been great to have toolless on-the-fly adjustable clasp on this? Yes, but I'll explain more about that in my gripes and room for improvement section. That's one of the gripes that I actually don't mind for a reason. Now, turning my attention to the bezel of this watch. It's a 120-click unidirectional bezel. It's got a very hard black titanium carbide coating on it, or a black PVD, and the action on this bezel is nothing short of phenomenal. The noise is great. It's a very positive feel. Excellent feedback to the fingers, especially with that grippy coin edge, and it lines up absolutely perfect. Now, turning the watch over, you'll notice there's a solid case back, and the design is indicating that this is a Skindiver. And even looking back at this article, you can see the case back designs of the particular models they've introduced throughout the years, from aeronautics, automobiles, and diving watches. And hiding behind this particular caseback is a Miyota 9039. It's a proper no-date Japanese automatic, 4Hz beat rate, around 42 hours, and this particular one here has been running at exactly +5 seconds per day, which in my opinion is more than sufficient for a Skindiver. Now when I dim the lights and look at the lume of this watch, they've opted for two different types of looms. You got C3 Superluminova on the entire dial, handset and lume pip seconds hand, and you got BGW9 on that inverted triangle on that bezel. Now the intensity is fantastic, the longevity is fantastic, the clarity in dim light has been nothing short of high praise. So again, I give the lume on this watch very high marks. Well done. And looking back to their website, you can see that there's two different variants of this watch. They've got a faux patina lume and this particular one. I opted to get this on the channel because I thought it's a little bit more purist, and it seriously has not let me down in that department. Lastly, the crystal on this watch is a boxstone sapphire crystal, perfectly chosen for the era, and even with that crystal the watch comes in at exactly 12 mils, so it's a really good experience on the wrist. Here I think they've chosen well. Now on that note, what are my gripes or room for improvement? First and foremost, there is a mismatch you saw in the lume. There's blue and green. Now, I'm going to put it in the gripe section because I think as a purist reviving something from the past, it would have been nice to have the same coloured lume. Why they opted for green and blue, I don't know. Does it work? Yes, it does. Is it strong? Yes, they both are. But it's one area that did stand out. In the watch's defense, when the lights are dim and I do move that bezel, you can see the blue, you can see where the marker is. It's separate from the rest. It's a good thing. Maybe it's not true to form to the original, but just putting it out there for you guys. Next for me, as I mentioned, is that clasp. There is no toolless micro adjustment. It does offer 5 spots, which is great. The link sizes are more than sufficient for me to find a comfort point, or for you. It's been comfortable. I've not had to adjust it. I've placed it in one area. It's been fantastic all week. Would I have liked a toolless clasp on this? I don't know whether it would have suited it. I really don't, because I think the design of this clasp, the size of this clasp, the footprint underneath the wrist is really good. And its finishing seems to be very good. So I'm not going to harp on too much about they should have. I think they've stayed more true to form from an original 70s design, but not actually made it flimsy. This is really built well. Now another gripe for me, speaking of that bracelet, looking underneath, there's quick release spring bars. They allow for quick strap changes, however, they do protrude slightly more than the case back and the lug ends, so I did feel them on my wrist at some stages throughout the day. Has it been a deal breaker for me? No, not really, but I am mentioning it for you guys nonetheless. Now put all that aside, the watch also is offered on a rubber strap. And as you can see, there's a military green rubber strap, which I think suits the watch's aesthetic quite nicely. I've worn it on the rubber, I've worn it on the black as well as the green. I've actually asked them to send me both straps because I wanted to see what it looks like. And the comfort has been there, the look has been ideal because I think it harkens back to the original era, which is nice. But speaking of those straps, both of them do not have quick release spring bars. The bracelet does, the rubber straps do not. So my honest take here, the watch has got drilled lugs. So the watch is a no-brainer. You can get straps on and off it. Personally, I would have opted to have no quick release spring bars, no quick release spring bars. I think it would have made a more comfortable experience underneath the wrist. As I mentioned, sometimes throughout the day I have felt it, and I've only felt it because my wrist has expanded. I've kept it a little bit loose because of that micro adjustability. There is no toolless, so I've kept it a little bit loose. When the wrist does expand, I felt them, the wrist contracts, we're all good. So I would have probably opted to go down this road and have no quick release spring bars on the entire system. But that's just me. Now the fifth thing that I want to mention in the gripe section, and I'm not mentioning this for me, I'm mentioning it for you guys because I hear a lot of stuff in the comments that people say, I'm going to put it in the gripe section, but I want you guys to make a decision. The watch has got, the bracelet itself has got split pins. It doesn't have screw pins. Now, I've never had an issue with split pins. I've had split pins in literally all of the Seiko watches I've ever bought. I've never had one fail. I've never had one come out. They've just been reliable. Now this one here's been the same. And at the end of the day, if it's not going to fail and it's functional, well, for me, it's achieved its purpose. Now, speaking of that bracelet, the finishing of the bracelet, the beads of rice, the center section of this bracelet is absolutely phenomenal. I think the brushing on this watch, bracelet, the finishing is as good as it gets at this price point. In fact, it's a little bit unexpected that it's this good. And I don't say that with any hesitation or reservations. Remember, you're trying to bring back a vintage vibe and feel, something from the 70s, with modern materials and machining, and I think they've actually nailed this. Simple as that. Now, would I have liked modern amenities on this watch, like a toolless on-the-fly adjustable clasp? Yes, of course, we all do. It wouldn't have suited this watch. I think what they've chosen is great. I understand. This is why I said to you, the gripes are there, but I understand why they did them. But they've done them well. I don't have a problem when people, we might say they skimp out. They've skimped out, they've given us one of these clasps or split pins. They haven't skimped out. It's executed really well. Now lastly, speaking about the price, the watch comes in at 973 Australian dollars. That's around 549 USD on the rubber strap and 1045 AUD or 599 USD on the bracelet. And a brand that's been revived with a long history, albeit it went away during the quartz crisis, as many other brands did. I think here the execution and the right use of modern materials and keeping true to form, I think they've done it well. You see, Wolbrook has got a big back catalogue of watches, and trying to bring something into the modern era without making it just yuck, a shiny gloss ceramic bezel for argument's sake would have destroyed this watch. So when you're going to remake or reintroduce a watch from the past and try to bring it back into modern day, I have zero issues when a brand does it, but when they do it properly. And looking back at this advert from Wolbrook, even though this isn't a one-to-one from the original design, which featured Arabics and was more of a world timer, you can see that it's drawing inspiration from that particular watch. And as far as quality goes, it's done right. And honestly, I don't see this as a money grab. This could easily have been $1,500 or $1,600 or $1,700 trying to, go off the name and the past history. A lot of brands are doing that. That's not what I've got here. It's done at the right price. As my viewer said, the right price, great design. It's about time. I think so too. It's about time. So hats off, Wolbrook. Thank you for sending this watch down. It's been a pleasure on the wrist throughout the week. Not without its niggles and flaws as I mentioned. But again, none of them have been a deal breaker. If anything, they've got me to appreciate not only the charm coming off this watch, but the finesse and quality of execution. I think it's tastefully done.